once again to discuss things.
Like I said, Urban signed on for the end. He didn't take off the helmet. Yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentleman Character Discussions. Today, it's exciting. We're in the future. We're going to talk about Batman Beyond himself, Mr. Terry McGinnis. Okay, so Batman Beyond's one of the weirdest things ever, because so much of it shouldn't work, but it totally did. That's my big hot take on Batman Beyond. How about you?
That's my thing, is that, okay, so it's the far future of Batman, the Batman TAS series, and it's focusing on a kid who's kind of like Peter Parker, but a little more edgier, and it's so 90s. Why does this work?
Yeah, it on no level should it function in the slightest, and it's really, really good. But the thing is, the best episodes of Batman Beyond are the first 3 episodes, and then Return of the Joker. The rest of the stuff's like, it's alright. It's okay. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of hilarious that it worked out that way. So yeah, Terry McGinnis, though, is a really interesting character in his own right. I particularly like that they did legit play with the idea that he's Batman and he's not a Robin or anything like that. He has a very unique place among the Batman, or the Bat family, I guess you could call it. And so that's kind of what has always been really appealing to me about Terry McGinnis is, Bruce Wayne is Batman. Anyone else that takes up the mantle is usually one of his trainees, except Terry McGinnis. He stands out in such an interesting way in that regard.
Well, unless you count that how they changed the continuity in that Justice League Unlimited episode, but we'll get to that.
I mean, I really am not bothered by that in the slightest.
I'm not.
I mean, it creates a contrivance, but it still doesn't change who Terry McGinnis was.
Like I said, we'll get to that because I don't hate it, but I got some things to say about it.
Well, I mean, let's go there. Let's go ahead and talk about that.
Okay. My thing is that, like you said, it is a bit of a contrivance, and it does feel like it came out of nowhere, and it just feels like they just wanted to do a Batman Beyond episode without any of the pesky continuity behind it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess, but I've never had a problem with making Terry McGinnis a partial clone of Bruce Wayne. I always was fine with it. It was just so... It seemed so perfect that, it turns out you are his son. And it didn't matter. It's not like that was the thing that made him able to be Batman. It's very important. Amanda Waller even says, you're not a perfect copy. You don't have his mind. And that's the thing, is, he's not just Bruce Wayne 2.0. It's just this weird, comic booky, crazy kind of connection between them. And so I never had a problem with it. I never knew what the hell was going on with people. It's interesting because in the current run in Rebirth, Dan Jurgens is writing that, and he had Damian show up. And Damian became the new Ra's al Ghul. And he and Terry fought. And so it's literally a sibling rivalry. Yeah, and that was really cool to see.
It almost felt like Shakespearean.
I know. It totally worked for me in that way. I have such a weird thing with that book. I really don't know who Dan Jurgens is writing it for. And I'm also not aware of how much Batman Beyond Dan Jurgens has watched. Or read,
but I will say that, Batman, Terry works on the grounds of, same way Harley Quinn is, that she started in the animated universe, and he's worked his way into just kind of the main continuity and into the fandom's hearts in a way, because a lot of people like look back. Yeah, the show does have some mediocre episodes, but on a whole, Terry, you really feel for Terry every episode.
Yeah.
And it's very cool because he's very much like Peter Parker in the sense that he's cracking jokes. He's not really thinking things through. He's just kind of bullhorning his way through half the stuff.
I mean, he's and that's the thing is, again, he's not a carbon copy of Batman. He is a wholly unique character in that regard. He has his own style to being Batman.
And at the same time, he's not a Mary Sue.
Yes, that is a great point. Terry McGinnis is a character with pathos. So I know I've talked about this on the show before, but since some of you apparently don't religiously watch all 500 episodes of Geeky Gentleman, or it's closer to 600 now.
Geeky Rebirth.
Yeah. So here's my thing. All right, you ready? In the show, they always talked about Terry McGinnis got in trouble when he was a kid. They never tell you what the hell for. And so my headcanon has always been Terry McGinnis was a Joker. Was a street gang Joker.
Funny enough.
I know. Oh, that was your headcanon too?
Yeah, because they always how he played up his thing with the Joker gangs. It almost felt like, yeah, he knows how they work already. So I was like, were you a part of that?
Yeah, it feels like he was in there with them. Like the closest they ever got to really getting into Terry's past was an episode with his friend that got caught when they were trying to steal something. And like, I don't know, I could totally see Terry being a part of that and getting involved with the Jokers. And then really interestingly in the first New 52 Batman Beyond comic, because there were two going on during the New 50. There were two that happened during New 52, one before and one after Future's End. In the first one, they did an arc where Terry went over to the Justice Lord's parallel universe and met himself, and that version of himself was a member of the Jokers. And so, like, that was just the ultimate moment of fan yesness for me. So I've always loved that idea that like it's a fantastic way to epitomize the Batman Joker dynamic, that duality, without necessarily having to bring the Joker back. And so I always really, really like the idea that Terry McGinnis was a Joker before he became Batman in his own right. Do you have a favorite episode of Batman Beyond?
Oh, I'm trying to remember the episode name, but one of my favorites is the it's the one with the Fantastic Four knockoffs.
Oh, yeah, it's all right.
Is that actually was my first episode I watched this show first. That was so it's got a little more nostalgia for me because that was my first Batman Beyond episode.
Mm-hmm.
Another one, like every episode with Ink in it, the villain Ink, those are all pretty good for me.
She's a really good villain. I like that. I like the episode where he defeats Blight. It's the end, the season 1 finale, because it showed how good a villain Blight was. Where he's like getting really mad at Terry, and he's like, "Who are you?" And Terry goes, "You want to know? Here's a hint. You killed my father." And then Blight just goes, "Do you have any idea how little that narrows it down?" And it's like one of the best villain lines I've ever heard. It was so good.
I know, it was like, God damn, like. And Blight, we could do a whole character thing on Blight somewhere down the road because there's so much to that character too.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, that's a really good one. I also really like the episode where we get Ace's origin in the Beyond universe. I can't remember the name of that, but it's like the dog fighting club and shit, and it's like the mutated dogs.
That episode broke my heart because it's so adorable of that relationship between him and Bruce in that universe.
No, it is, but like what I really like about Terry in that one is he proves he can be Batman without the suit. And then there's another episode that really, really gets into that. And I should have done more research on this, but we just kind of came up with a character to discuss off the fly here. But like, there's an episode where an evil AI gets a hold of the suit and takes it out on its own. And so Terry doesn't have the suit to rely on. And so he puts on the Robin Domino mask and the utility belt and goes out and is Batman and defeats the suit. And like, that's so perfect for him. I absolutely love that.
And I love the moment where he looks at the original Batman costume, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it." and then Bruce tells him, "No, you need to be your own. You know, you need to find your own way." So,
so like that's the thing for me that was always really smart is Terry McGinnis is not Bruce Wayne 2.0. He is a very distinct and independent character with his own pathos and stuff. And yeah, like everyone goes, oh, Batman Beyond's just a Spider-Man show, but with Batman. I'm like, yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. The parallels are there, but I don't know, man. Terry McGinnis could beat the shit out of Peter Parker. Like, obviously not Spider-Man, but like, Terry McGinnis is, like, Peter Parker is the really smart kid who gets, like, picked on. Terry McGinnis is the kid who sits in the back of the class. They're very, the similarities between them end with the fact that they're in high school.
The thing is, like, me. Who would you want to rather hang out with during, like, lunch? Terry or Peter?
Yeah, exactly. Terry's not, like, the cool or the popular kid, but he's not like a dork that's mocked or anything. Like, you know, Spider-Man Homecoming just came out, and there's that whole thing with Flash getting on the microphone or whatever and going like, Penis Parker, Penis Parker. Like, no, no one's gonna do that to Terry. Terry has bullies he has to deal with, but how he deals with them is not run away from them or anything. Terry fought. Terry was a scrapper. He was like, you know, I relate to Terry McGinnis in a lot of ways, in a lot more ways than I do Peter Parker, personally. Like, I remember getting in fights in high school and stuff. I remember being kind of the weird kid in the back of the classroom. And I relate to Terry McGinnis a lot more than I ever did Peter Parker. Because I'm not a super genius, despite what I tell myself. So, like, yeah, they definitely do have similarities being in high school and dealing with the whole teen drama thing. But, I mean, I think you could say that for any teenage superhero. We've done that shit with the Robins for years. We've done that shit with all the teenage superheroes and sidekicks.
Yeah, it's just that, you know, Terry kind of feels a little different in that everyone, like, all the other teen superheroes are very awkward or very, like, you know, they're kind of like, they stay to themselves. Terry's more like, no, I choose to be kind of out on my own, and if you get in my way or harass me, I'm going to knock a tooth out of your mouth.
I know. That's the best part about Terry McGinnis, is his first solution to shit is just fight. And that's really cool. Like when the Jokers show up and start harassing him and Dana in the pilot, he just beats the shit out of one and steals their motorcycle and runs off. Like, that's cool as shit. God, I love that about it. He's really got, like, you know, he is a scrapper, and that's really cool.
Yeah. I also like how you see that while he's not the smartest guy, he does have, like, he's not completely idiotic. Like, he catches on really quick sometimes.
Yeah, Terry McGinnis definitely thinks on his feet. And that is a very appealing aspect of the character. And yeah, so I like, you know who would get along? And I don't think we've ever really done anything because he's more from the DCAU than the DCU proper. God, I need a crossover with Hal Jordan and Terry McGinnis.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, because those dudes have so much in common. They're not the smartest, but they're both really brave. They both definitely have, like, a lot in common. And I don't know if you really could do it, mostly because I'm pretty sure Hal Jordan's dead, and, like, Hal Jordan either never existed in the DCAU or is straight dead by the time you get to the Beyond universe, given that we got what's his name? The Green Lantern that's like a Buddhist kid.
I can't remember his name. It's some with a K, I know.
Yeah. Like you got him floating around, and God, do I need more shit of that kid, by the way. I love him as Green Lantern. It's such a cool design, but anyway. I don't know. There's so much from like Terry McGinnis is a really really interesting character to me. Now, did you read any of the? Do you read any of the comics or no? Have you read the new series or anything from New 52?
I've tried to, but there's like it's now so continuity heavy especially after Future's End. But I did read Hush Beyond.
Okay.
Which I liked. I know that's kind of it's a very mixed bag for people.
It's all right. It's the most forgettable, I feel, of all the Batman Beyond stuff. I would say I don't think that the new book, the Rebirth title, is very continuity heavy. It has to deal with a little bit of like the Brother Eye fallout from Future's End. But here's the thing. I didn't read Future's End, and by this point we're like the world's rebuilt for all intents and purposes. We're not dealing with the shit from Future's End anymore. So you could hop in on this arc and you'd be fine, I'd tell you.
Yeah. And now especially now that he has a Robin now.
Yes, that just happened. I really do like Dan Jurgens' ideas. I think he just milks them too much because we've been setting up Matt to be the Robin to Terry's Batman for like 3 arcs now. It just needed to happen earlier. But yeah, we finally got Matt in costume as Robin. And that's really cool. You know, Batman and Robin Beyond is a really cool idea. I'm excited for that. I'm really curious to see where that goes.
Yeah. So let me ask you, what did you think of outside of Bruce, what did you think of Terry's supporting cast?
I quite like Max. I think she's an interesting character and you know, kind of fills that team thing that, you know, Nolan obviously popularized it, but we've been doing it for years where instead of having the one character who's amazing at everything, they surround themselves with people who really know what they're doing. So to have Max be kind of like a Felicity-esque character is really cool, and I quite like her. Dana never has a ton of character depth to me, but she was a really hot cartoon character when I was a kid, and I had a bit of a crush on her, so...
But I think about that rather than, you know, have the whole I can't be with you because, you know, I'm a superhero, it's more like, no, I'm a still fucker. That way, you know, if it was Spider-Man, he'd be like, I can't be with you in case, you know, Green Goblin throws you off a bridge or some shit. Terry's like, can I still bang you? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the teen drama stuff with Terry. He was always going after Dana, and like they had a very adult relationship in retrospect for being kids in high school. Like, at one point, Terry and is really making an effort to be more respectful and be there for her more, and he sends like a whole apology, and she tells him, hey, we're going out tonight and I'm wearing the white dress, the one you like, and he's like, whoa. I'm like, you know, as a kid that just goes right over your head. As an adult you're like, well damn, that means sex. Like shit.
Oh no, there is no doubt in my mind that they fucked.
Like, oh yeah, definitely. Those two teenagers fucked like rabbits, man. There's no way they didn't. It's just so obvious from the way it's written, and like that. You know, fuck it, man. I was in high school. I was not waiting until marriage. You know, I had sex with my girlfriends in high school. It's just a thing you did. You know, guys were competing with each other. Like, oh, you bang her again? Like, you know, that's just the reality of it, and. I don't know, especially in the Batman Beyond universe, I don't think things have improved in that future timeline, and I don't think things are really going to change for kids in the world in the immediate future. But no, regardless though, like it's that's just their relationship. And again, that's a very not Peter Parker thing. Like, I don't honestly think Peter Parker and Mary Jane truly hooked up until like right before they got engaged. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, though.
No, I believe it. Whereas Terry was like, I guarantee it was like 2 months in. Boom.
Yeah. If not 2 weeks. No, like it's a very realistic thing, and again, I related to that more. And I'm not trying to paint myself as like some tough guy. I got in fights in high school. I didn't win many of those fights. I was very glad that the teachers came and broke it up before anything really happened. But
Yeah, keep in mind, like, when he says got into fights, he didn't say, did I win?
I remember it was a freshman, and some friends and I were in the woods in my neighborhood, riding our bikes, doing jumps on the ramps and stuff, and I fell and face planted really bad, and just like my whole cheek was just like fucking blood. There's just like it was just a giant scab on my whole cheek for like 3 weeks. And the first day, though, when I went back to school and it was just there, everyone was like, man, what happened? And so my idea was like, I got in a fight. And they're like, oh, shit. I was like, yeah, you should see the other guy. That was the panty dropper right there. Anyway, yeah, so, I don't know. The way Terry McGinnis works, he feels like a much more realistic teenager than Peter Parker ever did to me. And I don't know. I think Peter Parker's gotten more realistic over time, but Terry McGinnis really felt like an actual teenager to me, especially in retrospect, thinking about it now that I've gotten, that life experience out of the way and I can look back on some of the stuff he was up to. So you read Hush Beyond, and honestly, dude, I'm trying my best, and I can't remember shit about Hush Beyond except that it's not Thomas Elliott and it wasn't Jason Todd.
It's Dick Grayson.
What? No, what?
Yeah, no, the Hush Beyond that Hush is Dick Grayson.
But Dick Grayson showed up in the New 52 book.
It's a whole thing.
Okay. I totally fucking forgot that shit then. Damn. I guess I need to go reread Hush Beyond because I don't remember shit about that book. Anyway, like Hush Beyond's okay. The thing I've talked about a bunch already in this episode, but I always talk it up to people. The New 52 series is solid fucking gold, especially if you're a fan of the DCAU as a whole. Because they don't just, like, do the future stuff. They bring in the Justice Lords continuity thing from Justice League. They bring Brainiac back post the end of Justice League Unlimited. They do all kinds of shit with the like DCAU as a whole, kind of wrapping it all up and closing up all these loose ends in really fascinating ways in the Beyond timeline, and that makes it very enjoyable. So yeah, I always talk that book up. I always recommend that book to people. It's really, really fascinating, and just to center it all around Terry is really cool too. What else with Terry's worth talking about? Do you think that that like the killing the father thing worked as enough of a motivation for him, or do you think that like he should have mirrored Bruce a little more directly and had two parents dead?
I think it should have been. I think that was more than enough because, like, losing his father, who he kind of idolized, but at the same time was like rebelling against. So you do have that hero's guilt kind of thing with him. So I think his father was enough, and having still his mom and his brother still around brought in a cool dynamic of, oh yeah, I still have a family, and I'm not as dark and brooding as my real baby daddy.
Fair enough. That's really stupid. Why does that make me laugh so much? Okay. Yeah, I can agree with that. Again, it is a little more direct in the Peter Parker comparison, no lie, but it feels distinct enough. Especially because, like, nothing he did directly killed his dad. It was what his dad trying to be a good person that got him killed, right? So that's an important side to it. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk design stuff, aesthetic stuff. I'm of the opinion that the Batman Beyond suit is literally perfection.
I would agree.
Yeah? It's really good. They recently did a slight redesign in Rebirth that did not that a lot of people didn't like. I quite liked it. It had a number of like really subtle touches that I thought were really cool. A lot of people didn't like that it had a bunch of red lines on it, but I thought it looked pretty cool. That it enabled more detail to be shown on the suit without like losing the futuristic look to it. But the one thing I really liked was the wing shape changed, which was really neat. But yeah, the minimalist, super futuristic looking design of the Batman Beyond suit is really, really good. The one complaint I have is the jet boots look just a little silly.
Yeah, I mean, I understand they were trying to go for like a retro kind of thing, but at the same time, I'm like, he has a car. Why does he need the boots?
Yeah, I mean, like he can fly. I don't know. There's just something about the fact that they come out of the feet just doesn't work for me. And I don't really know where I want him to get propulsion from, or if I just want him to like have to wave his arms every few minutes. I don't know. I don't know what I want. The one thing that I've gone back to about the Batman Beyond suit, and the one thing we don't see very often in the comics now, is anything to do with the jet boots. When we show Terry flying, most of the time he's just flying. It's not. We don't really see the propulsion anymore.
Maybe he's just gliding on the breeze or whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We just don't show the propulsion part.
I guess maybe because the fire, like, kind of like, oh, he's just flying around with fire coming out of his feet. It's not.
Yeah.
I guess people could like. I guess the train of thought, if you want to go like put it into perspective, is maybe he stopped doing that because the bad guys could hear the fire from the propulsion. So I guess I'll just glide then.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just there's just something about those that like it just feels a little dated. It was late 90s, so I don't know. Something about that just is the only thing that I don't like about the suit, and I don't really know how else I want him to propel himself, or if I just want it to be like some kind of unseen force or something. I don't know. But yeah, the black and red on the bat suit. Oh, it's so good. It's such a good color combination.
I know. Oh man, and also like the bat symbol and how it like it just is just so centered. Like I don't know. Like I just kind of dig.
It's like everything that's great about the bat symbol on Batman and the Superman shield. It's got the scale of the Superman shield, but it's got the coolness of the bat symbol. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that really helps sell it.
It's like it stands out, kind of like with. It's a weird comparison, but like the Punisher skull.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like that's the first thing you visually set your eyes to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Man, I love that suit so much, and I think that's like half of what made that show so cool was just how damn perfect that suit was. And it's funny because we've kind of just started aping that in the comics for a bit now. Like Nightwing's Rebirth costume had the red, and then Batwoman just feels like they just stole the design for Batman Beyond for Kate Kane. And it was like, okay, the red really works. You know what we need? Red hair. Boom. And so yeah, the Batman Beyond suit is so fucking cool. And then the other thing that's really great about it is the fucking batarangs out of the wrist. Oh, I love that shit. It's so perfect.
I dig I don't know about you, but I dig the cloaking.
Oh yeah, the fucking Predator cloaking shit is so cool. Like all the techiness, it's so perfect.
And keep in mind, it's all in the hands of a guy whose first thought is, I'm going to go over there and break his jaw.
Yeah. Like, he was one of the more brutal Batman interpretations, I think. Like, it's not Frank Miller brutal, but Terry McGinnis is kind of up there. So, yeah, I can totally see that. Then, the other thing, people sleep on this, but the Batman Beyond suit is pretty fucking powerful. In that episode I mentioned where the AI takes over the suit, it takes over the suit while it's in the Batcave, which is always on lockdown, of course, right?
Right.
Its way of getting out of the Batcave was just to walk through the fucking cave wall. And it leaves, like, it's a little cartoony, but it just leaves like more or less the shape of the bat suit as it just plowed its way through the fucking stone wall to get out of the bat cave.
And it makes you question how much restraint is Terry putting into his punches and not like punching a hole through people every time.
Yeah, like he's really got some scale because they have him do some pretty crazy ass shit with that suit. It's cool as shit. I also like how lean Terry is in comparison to Bruce. Bruce usually has more of the really tough like muscle builder.
He almost feels
build.
like where Batman felt like this big monster coming to get you, Terry feels like a demon coming out of the shadows.
Yes, yeah, he's just a little more slim, a little more sleek. He's still strong, but he's got like a wiriness to him, and it just works so well in the Beyond suit. It's so weird to always go back to the first episode of Batman Beyond where you first see Bruce in the Batman Beyond suit, and he's like so much bigger and shit, whereas Terry's like so lean in comparison to it.
Yeah, like he almost looks more animalistic than Bruce did in the shadows.
Mm-hmm, definitely. All right, let's go ahead and go on to recommendations. So I'll say, of course, the first 3 episodes of the series, the Batman Beyond Return of the Joker movie, which is really, really good, and I love that movie because it shows Terry as Batman in his own right, and not just Bruce 2.0, and the New 52 first volume of Batman Beyond comics, before the Tim Drake stuff, after the old 52 stuff. That is primo shit right there.
I'm pretty much going to say everything a JLU episode, because there is some interesting dialogue between him and Waller, and it's a neat little like bow at the end of that story.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
I would recommend Hush Beyond, but like you said, that's kind of hit and miss for a lot of people, so I'm not going to put that for recommendations.
Okay. All right. Well, Deadpoolzilla, who are we going to be talking about next time?
We are going to be talking about Wile E. Coyote. Super
Genius. All right, should be fun. Everyone, thanks very much for watching. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
I am the Don Juan of Comic-Con.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen. And we will be discussing things.
Mm-hmm.